And then, as everything starts coming together, your thumbnails sharper, your retention stronger, your content more intentional, you begin to notice something subtle but powerful happening in the background. Something that doesn't feel dramatic at first, but slowly changes the entire trajectory of your channel. And that is the emergence of momentum. Because growth on YouTube rarely happens in a single explosive moment. It builds quietly, layer by layer, video by video, signal by signal, until one day, what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. And this is the phase where your past efforts begin to connect, where each video is no longer isolated, but part of a larger system that feeds into itself. Because now, your videos are not just being watched individually, they are leading into each other, creating sessions. And sessions are incredibly valuable to YouTube, because the longer someone stays on the platform, the more valuable that experience becomes. And if your content contributes to that, if someone watches one of your videos and then clicks another and then another, you are no longer just a creator, you are a pathway, a source of continued engagement, and this is where the algorithm starts recognizing you differently, not just as a single video performing well, but as a channel that keeps viewers inside the platform. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. And this is why your content strategy begins to matter at a deeper level, because now it's not just about making good videos, it's about making connected videos, content that naturally leads from one idea to the next, creating a sense of continuity, a reason for the viewer to stay within your world. And this doesn't require complex systems, it requires clarity, understanding what your channel represents, what topics you explore, and how each video fits into that bigger picture. Because when your content feels connected, viewers don't feel like they've reached the end. They feel like they've just started. At the same time, something shifts in your audience behavior, because now, instead of random viewers, you start seeing patterns, familiar usernames, repeated engagement, people returning not just for one video, but for you, for your style, your perspective, your consistency. And this is where your channel begins to form an identity, something that goes beyond individual uploads, something that people recognize and come back to. And that recognition builds trust. And that trust strengthens every signal your videos send. But here's the critical part. Momentum is fragile in the beginning. It can grow, but it can also break if you lose consistency, if you shift direction too abruptly, if you stop paying attention to what's working, because the system is always recalibrating, always observing, and just as it can start favoring your content, it can also pull back if the signals weaken. And this is why discipline becomes essential. Not just motivation, not just inspiration, but a structured approach to creating, analyzing, and improving, again and again. And this is also where patience becomes more than just a mindset. It becomes a strategy, because momentum doesn't always show immediate results. Sometimes it builds beneath the surface. Sometimes your videos are learning before they are growing, gathering data, refining your audience, strengthening your position. And if you quit during this phase, you lose everything that was about to compound, everything that was quietly aligning in your favor. And then, almost unexpectedly, something shifts. A video performs better than usual, not viral, not explosive, but noticeably stronger. More impressions, better watch time, more engagement. And this isn't random, it's the result of everything you've been building, everything you've been refining. And this video becomes a bridge. A point where your past efforts meet new opportunity. And if you continue in the same direction, if you reinforce what worked, that momentum begins to accelerate. And this is the moment where many creators either rise or stall. Because some see this as a lucky spike and move on randomly, while others recognize it as a signal, a clue, a direction worth doubling down on. And those who choose the second path begin to grow faster. Not because they're guessing, but because they're listening to the data, aligning with their audience, and strengthening what already works. So now, as you stand in this phase, your focus shifts once again. You're no longer just trying to make a video work. You're trying to build a system that keeps working, a cycle where each upload supports the next, where each improvement compounds over time. And this is where YouTube stops feeling unpredictable and starts feeling understandable. Not easy, not guaranteed, but navigable. Because now you're not just participating in the platform, you're learning how to move within it. And in that realization, something changes permanently because you stop chasing views and start building momentum that creates them.